What's going on, Packers fans? Aaron Nagler here, joined by Billy Schmid of 97.3 The Game, the Packers Radio Network, with Carry the G Radio, the podcast. Billy, how are you today, man?
I'm better after that intro. Son of a gun. I mean, that is as crisp as it possibly could be, and we are within.
The problem is that's as good as it's ever going to get. It's all downhill for me.
With that attitude. No, we are almost 100 days away from the Packers kicking off, so I'm getting close.
We're getting there. We are slogging through the offseason. Phase 3 is upon us, sir, which means organized team activities have commenced. They started Monday. Tuesday, today was our first kind of look, the media being the royal we there, at what's going on at Ray Nitschke Field. Who's doing what? Who's in attendance? Who's hurt? Who's not? And believe it or not, coming off an offseason, you always know there's one or two surprise injuries that jump up and go, hey, how y'all doing? And apparently, last year was the year of the hamstring early on in the Packers season. This offseason so far, it is the year of the pectoral muscle, where we already knew Matt LaFleur was dealing with a torn pec.
Yep.
But now it turns out Robert Kraft and Zach Tom both dealing with torn pecs, although Matt did indicate that there's no long-term concern. They'll be ready for camp. We've heard this song and dance before, Billy. I'm going to tell you, I'm not going to be like 100%, okay, yes, it's fine, until I do see them out at camp.
Yeah, and that's the right way to approach it. It just sounds like the most painful injury.
The worst
to think of, right? Like, I mean, doing the show with Kuhn, he talks about when he tore his bicep, and that's one that I just think of like, that's every day just grasping something. You're feeling that. The pec is just like living and breathing. So that's just a painful injury to think of and fathom.
Yeah, that's not for me, Chief. No thanks.
But I'm with you. It's one of those where you can put it on the back burner for now, but it will still linger and sit in the back of your mind, knowing. We do got to get that thing fully cleaned up by the time we go and put pads on and start hitting people in July and August.
And you know what it'll be? I'll write the tweets right now. I'm gonna get your headlines. Get your August headlines today here at Carry the G Radio, because let me tell you what will happen. We'll get to camp and they'll be out. They'll both be on PUP out of an abundance of caution, and then they'll bring them back along really slowly.
Yep.
And they won't probably play in family night, and then they'll be up for that first week of work in the preseason. That's my guess.
Yeah, and I think you're probably right on it. And it's also, it's just a factor, especially when you talk about Zach Tom, because it at least mutes for the moment the competition and the potential of moving him around, I would assume, right?
Well,
so that it just keeps on the back burner.
Let it simmer. Let it simmer in the background for a little bit. Although, to that point, something that Bill Huber brought up in the media session after the practice today, it does afford you, as the Packers, an opportunity to see guys in a bunch of different positions. Today, the first-round pick, Jordan Morgan, sliding over there with the starters at right tackle in place of Zach Tom, leaving Rasheed Walker at left tackle. And then they even saw a little Dillard, their free agency pickup there at right tackle a little bit. Although I'm going to tell you right here and now, I know we're all in the reclamation project zone. We're all very, very much rooting for the young man. But, man, I'm not loving any ideas of Dillard actually seeing time this year. That's just me. That's just where I'm living.
Sure.
That's how I roll.
Similar to, like, you don't want to see Royce Newman get snaps last year,
sir.
right?
Correct, sir.
Yeah.
That's where I'm living there. Yeah.
Yep. And I want to see the healthy guys on the field too. I do think it's very interesting from the Caleb Jones perspective, right? Where it's they might not have the extra project spots that they've had over the last couple of years, where they just feel really good about letting somebody simmer, so to speak, for that couple of years and say, work on your skills, craft up, and we could see you in year 3.
Caleb Jones
Dillard's going to change that up a little bit.
He might, but Caleb Jones could just flat out beat him out.
Good.
Which is fine by me.
Yep.
Caleb Jones was running with the 2s today. I'd like to see that. Give him that opportunity. The other thing, talking about moving things around, Andy Herman tweeting out that Elton Jenkins got some work with the ones at center. Everyone talked about Zach Tom. Zach Tom not available. Well, we're still going to be moving things around and providing a little competition for one Josh Myers. I think we know they love Josh. Like, they've made no bones about that. They really like him, etc. And we've talked about it a couple times this offseason, Billy, where he's cheap labor at this point, right?
Yeah, right now.
Last year of his deal.
Yep.
Knows your system really well, inside and out, has a good relationship with Jordan Love. But it looks like they're still going to, probably do a little pushing.
That's the toughest part, man. You got to continue to add some competition, and it was clear they wanted to bring that in for Josh this year. So if it means a multiple-time All-Pro bouncing over, who also played the position in college, yeah, that'll add a little bit of competition. It'll spice things up. They want to know, and I do still think, and we've talked about it a little bit, no one anticipated John Running was getting 3 years, $30 million in the offseason.
Sir.
I think there's some thoughts of, damn, if he got that, what is 71 going to get if he hits the open market? And we want to have a backup plan. Yes. And we know that we got pretty good ones in-house.
No doubt. And hell, you got the rookie too, and Monk, who was running with the twos to be, at least, again, providing a little pressure there.
I think he's going to crack the starting lineup this year.
Who, Monk?
Monk. I think he's going to have a
chance.
great – Next, I think he's going to have a great chance to win that right guard job.
I agree.
From everything we watched from Sean Ryan, and I was very excited about him coming out of UCLA last year, left plenty of the doors open for that to be taken. And I just watching and listening to the way they talk about Monk, they're going to give him a chance to win that job.
Agreed. And you mentioned Ryan. He was out there at right guard with the ones. We've talked about that as well earlier this offseason. Figured he'd get that first shot, right?
Yep.
Like, yes, you ended the year with him rotating and absolutely putting some really good stuff on tape. No question about it. Definitely needs some more consistency, but he's getting the first crack at it, so to speak, to try and lay claim to that right guard spot. Let's stick on the offensive side of the ball for a little bit here, because it's good to see Christian Watson, man. Like, I know it's, spring ball, it's shorts, it's nothing really yet, even approaching real football. But, man, it's just good to see those videos from practice of him down the seam, plucking the ball out of the air, turning and speeding up the field. Man, they're just a different offense when he's out there and right. And I can't wait. I really hope this hamstring issue is behind him, because, man, he is just a whole other dimension when it comes to the Packers offense.
Yeah, Jaden Reed is the most fun in my opinion to watch, because I love the way he runs with the football and takes advantage whenever he's got the ball in his hands.
Yes, sir.
But he is the best threat for any defense walking in, Christian Watson that being, to be a legit number one dude. And you're right, they're so different with him in the offense on the field. And you can just tell by how they game plan. Right? Like, you can tell how much they understand he changes the flow of their offense by when he's in there and when he's up for a week, how much of the game plan is centered around getting him the ball and getting him the ball early, getting him into a rhythm, and finding a way to get a couple of easy layup completions to then take the top off the defense. It is, you had opportunities throughout the draft to maybe add more competition there, but that's the one spot where you can look and say, we need to improve from within, and we got too many options for that improvement to not be on the field.
You know what? Speaking of which, I'm not saying I totally forgot. Nah, that's not what I'm saying here. But I did get reminded that Samori Toure was on the team today, because there were a couple tweets where he caught a ball deep from Jordan Love, and I was like, oh, that's right, Samori Toure. Good job, buddy.
I was today years old when I remembered that he was on the team. So thank you for that one, Nags.
Breaking news again. Conversation around the offseason has been about the depth of this, wide receiving group, and everyone's talking about everybody from Watson to Reed to Wicks to even down to Melton and Malik Heath. And then
I got a guy in a dynasty league that keeps trying to trade me Bo Melton, and I'm like, dude, God bless. I'm still all in on the week 17 game.
Melton.
But
he's trying to gouge, price gouge.
Yeah. I'm not going to give you a 4th round pick in next year's rookie draft for Bo Melton. Now I will potentially move some pieces around, and we can change some things up once I get to look at it again. But
sure, right.
Quit asking right now. There's too many.
Well, now's the time to do it. No, I get it. Like, because look, back in the day when I was a serious fantasy player, I'm still in a league, but I don't really follow it that much. I kind of set my.
Oh, you're too cool for it.
I just set my lineup and So, Billy, what am I going to do? Okay, there are 24 hours in a day, and I'm going to spend real time. I'm going to carve out actual moments of my life to worry about my fantasy football team. No.
You're going to go to the bathroom, and you're going to check it right there.
I got no time. I got no time for all that. I got life to live over here.
You dropping the 50-year-old weirdo is the best thing that could have happened outside of you inviting me into your fantasy football league. So
we might have a spot. I'll let you know.
Well, let me know. I mean, I could add number 9.
Okay. But that's the thing I was going to say. Back in the day when I very first started it, I think it was the year 2000. True story.
Mm-hmm.
We had a draft where you had drinking penalties if you drafted a Viking, and you had to take 2 shots if you drafted Randy Moss or Kurt Warner. I think because we just hated Kurt Warner at the time, and we had all these rules, right? And I just got obliterated that first draft. But everyone knew that they could offer me Packers if I didn't draft them, just outrageous offers, and I would almost always my whole team would be as Packer centric as possible.
Well, you know what? As long as you were comfortable with it, you probably didn't. You might not have won a lot, but I
won the championship one year, and that's all I needed to do. It was 2003, and it was a glorious time because I had Amon Green as my lead back.
Oh yeah, you were eating.
I even had Tony Fisher as my backup flex. And he scored a touchdown. It was in one of the biggest playoff games. It was amazing.
That's my friend Jake has been trying to get Tony Fisher on a football card. He's got 15 different wannabe Tony Fisher drawings from. He was his favorite player when we were in 4th grade.
Really?
It made no sense. Yeah,
I love Tony Fisher. Is he still? I think he's still on staff with the Packers. He's still in the building. Or maybe did he just leave? I can't remember.
He may have just left, but I want to say if he left for a job potentially with the league office.
Yes,
or with the PA.
Like that. Yeah. But I do remember Wes Hodkiewicz saying that he was one of his favorite people in the building.
One of the biggest brains, I think, that's come through there, too.
No question. I mean, we are on a major detour here, but I'll get us back on track with some talk about the defense.
Sorry
because
about that.
No, that's all my fault. You talk about the Packers defense and the rotation on the back end, right? We've heard so much about it. And Matt LaFleur cannot stop singing Xavier McKinney's praises here. And, from the sound of it, from what was reported today, from the looks they got, sure feels like, how they've talked many times, both Matt and Jeff Hafley, about wanting interchangeable parts there at the safety position. Sure sounds like that's, at least initially the way they're going to be working, because McKinney was both, deep post safety and also working up near the line of scrimmage throughout the entire practice today. So I think they're going to be true to their word, or at least they're going to attempt to be until someone shows that they're not able to do it.
Well, and that's one of the things. As long as both are able, you don't want to take away anyone's powers, right? It is, to me, it's always been superhero kind of style, right? Don't take someone's superpowers away just because it fits better. Right. Don't take something away from somebody just because, that's kind of what we should be doing. No, allow them to be what made them one of the most prized targets on the free agent market. And you talk about the back end, Negs, and I still think this is a part of it when you talk OTAs. It's who's showing up and who's there. And some credit goes, again, I think, to Jair Alexander after last year.
There he is.
There was the what? It's going to take, what, 10 million? Get me here? Hey, he's here. He's working out. He's obviously feeling hopefully rejuvenated, re-energized. Loving football, loving ball, because, apparently it's just so dismal and difficult to play football in Green Bay. So
you're trying to go to Devondre Campbell now. I see you.
What do you mean? I didn't say anybody.
You're not
I
slick
didn't say anybody.
there. I already did a video about this.
But it is. But next, it allows us to at least think and put ourselves even more validation to many people. I was not one of them that wanted the move in the middle of the year,
right?
And realizing they're like, these guys aren't playing for Joe Barry anymore.
Mm-hmm.
There was clearly some people that were not happy.
Maybe a little something to that.
Clearly, maybe a little bit of something to there. Some Packer fans were right. How right? We don't know. We don't know yet. But at least the one that's the most valuable and the highest paid is choosing to give it a chance and give it a go. And this is a real chance that he's given it. So I think it needs to be commended for that work from number 23.
Especially for a voluntary session. These are all voluntary. And there he is. I think he does get a workout bonus, but
it's 700,000 amongst friends, Nags. It is what it is.
It's not. I mean, he issued it last year, right?
He laughed at it.
Last year it was nothing.
Yes.
Oh, yeah, I get it. I feel you. The Devondre Campbell thing, though, you can tell it bugged me. And I know you're trying to get under my skin here. Because I made the video yesterday because, we talked before we got on here. Look, the first tweets between, towards the end of the season where like, oh, I'm playing injured, whatever, fine. Not happy. I get it.
Totally
and then,
get it.
Although I will say he had one of my all-time favorite quotes ever from any professional athlete in the history of the league when he said, "I'm not talking about anything on no internet."
On no internet.
You mean the thing you put on the internet? No,
Yeah.
I'm not talking about anything on no internet. I mean, I need that. I need that in my life. I don't want to talk about anything on no internet.
You posted a fantastic video that we repurposed and appreciate you for allowing us to. We didn't ask for your permission to play.
I had no idea. You just told me before we go down.
Yeah,
because on the radio.
Because you said it perfectly when you just said, "Hey, you can kind of miss me with some of the talk now."
Well, just 3. We got 3 bitch sessions now on Twitter. Like, at what point is it okay? We get it. You weren't happy.
The other part is then put a name to it. I've never really liked subtweeting, Nags. I never was a fan of you talking about somebody when you're clearly trying to talk about somebody, but you don't want to. I'm always a put a face to the comment, right? Put a name to it, put your name on it. And he clearly doesn't want to talk about the situation because then, dang, man, I can't say anything without anybody being upset. It's the one buddy you have that is always passively aggressively going at one of your other buddies because he got cut from the middle school basketball team. And if it wasn't for Johnny, he was going to be on the basketball team and I would still be on the team in high school. And you know what? I probably would have been prom king, but it is what it is. I'm not mad about it. I'm not upset about it at all, but you'll just bring it up every single time.
Every 6 months, you're going to tweet about it. I got it. I see what it is. No, but that's the thing too, right? Like, I get it. And to your point, you don't want to say Joe Barry's name, apparently, but he could be talking about his position coach, right?
Could be, yes.
As far as what he's being asked to do within the scheme, who knows who was relaying those instructions and how I don't know.
Could be talking about teammates.
He could be. Quay Walker was just lost, and I had to make up for him. Like, we don't know. Yep. We don't know because, to your point, he won't say, which is fine. Again, it's fine. But my whole thing in that video was, there's plenty of evidence of you in position to make plays where you don't make the play. Make the tackles, make the plays, and the Packers wouldn't have cut you. The Packers want you to succeed. They wanted you to be happy. They want you to make those plays because they paid you to make those plays. You didn't make those plays, they cut you.
And the defense was different when he was able to cover, right? Like, yes. I mean, they were really good when he was able to cover. Look at the first 6-7 games. So, and it's a cautionary tale, but it's a tale as old as time. You go on the field and you are playing less than 100%. Most people at some point during the NFL season are.
Yep.
And and it's one of the reasons why I love football, because of the brotherhood feel that it has of, I got to do this for them. I got to do this for everybody else in the locker room. Not only just because I want to do it for me and I only have a finite amount of times that I get to play in an NFL game. And if I'm close enough to playing, I'm going to do it. But I feel like I owe it to somebody. All you are judged on, though, is what happens on the field.
Between the white lines.
It will never allow you. There's never that cushion of, well, I was playing with an ankle injury.
No.
Well, you were good enough to go. You're good enough to get judged on it.
Yes.
And Lamar Jackson is one of the only guys that no one will maybe say it right now, but 10 years down the line on one of these podcasts, you'll hear him say in 22,
right,
I knew I wasn't going to be 100%. I didn't want them to use that in my contract negotiation like I knew they were about to.
Yep.
So you have to make that decision, and it's a difficult one to do. Everybody's playing with something, but when you are on the field, that's all you're going to be judged upon is what the tape ends up showing.
Exactly. 3,000% correct. It is. You are judged accordingly once you step between the white lines. But, you've goaded me into it. Now we've talked about Devondre. Now we can get off of it because I've talked about it.
I didn't say anything.
I just love, there was some dude in my mentions or in the Cheesehead TV mentions who was like, because I say in the video, I don't begrudge him his newfound happiness, which I don't. Go be happy. I'm really excited for you.
Good for you, dude.
But he's like, oh, you say this, but then you spend all this time bitching about him, blah, blah, blah. You ignore the narrative that Packers players after they leave Green Bay are always upset. I'm like, yeah, guys get cut, they get upset. Welcome.
Yeah, I was not happy when I got fired.
Like what? Yeah. What? I love this. That's only a narrative in Green Bay. Packers fans are like so kind of dialed in myopically. Some Packers fans in that regard. It's like, yes, guys are unhappy when let go. News at 11. I love it. I absolutely love it.
Well, and yeah, it just again, you see it time and time again where it's this close to. Do we think there's one more in here, or do we think we're getting a better deal? Packer fans will always love when they know they got the better deal.
Yes.
But right now, we're in this gray area where it's he's not going to go and play really well next to Fred Warner, right? We should maybe ease up. Yeah. We also don't know what Edgerrin Cooper is. Yeah. Wait till week 6 and Edgerrin Cooper is balling out, and everybody will feel a lot better.
Well, and that's the thing. Of course, here's the other thing. We're talking right now about OTAs, right? That was the whole reason we're talking about, blah, blah, blah. Edgerrin Cooper didn't start today next to Quay Walker. It's over. It's a wasted draft pick, Billy.
Well, I mean, let's be honest. You gotta redshirt him probably 1 year because he didn't play any good competition there at Texas A&M.
Oh my God, this is the overreaction stuff that just drives. I mean, I'm literally watching replies on Twitter. Like someone was out there going, "Oh, Jordan Love's there," even though he's dealing with the contract talks with the Packers. What? Man, just close Twitter. Go outside.
Oh, I got it. I got into that yesterday a little bit. We brought it up in the radio show. Just think about it, though. If indeed they had to put out a tweet, one of the beat writers to say,
right,
not going to get into a contract dispute with the team right now. He is participating. Or if Nags, he would have just said, you know what, guys, all due respect, I'm going to be here for all the mental stuff. I'm going to take a bunch of mental reps, but
I'm going to skip the field stuff.
I'm going to skip the field stuff. Heads would be exploding.
Oh my gosh. It'd be insanity.
It'd awesome.
Be insanity. Thankfully, none of that occurred. Nope. Don't have to deal with any of it. Jordan Love is a dude. He's out there. I will say the thing that got me probably the most excited from all the updates today was the fact that we learned there will be not 1, but 2 joint practice sessions during training camp, Billy. We are going to watch the Packers host the Ravens prior to their preseason matchup at Lambeau, and they will also be having 1 joint practice out in Denver with the Broncos. And I do love that they're only doing 1 joint practice for both, because Matt was like, you guys remember Cincinnati last year, that second day, it gets to be an MMA fight. So we're just going to do the 1 joint practice, which I get, I understand. And I do love the idea of being able to go against and have quality reps against different sets of not only talent, but systems and schemes. And you get all this teaching tape, especially for a team like the Packers, who are so young, probably going to be the youngest team in the league yet again. The idea that you get all these different looks prior to anything mattering, I think that's really smart. And I really like that the Packers are continuing to do this.
I'd love for them to be televised. I'd love for the NFL to do it.
Cheesehead TV is ready and able to provide whatever is necessary for the Packers to make it available to their fans. That will never happen, but no, we stand ready and waiting.
And we will, and we'll stand forever, because one of the reasons why these things are big and why teams like them and why they make sense and actually pay off is because they're not scouted, and you're not getting film on it, and you're not going to be able to share it with other teams. So it's one of the big reasons why they like it so much, and why you can actually get frontline players into it. Selfishly, I'm fired up because I wasn't going to be able to see Lamar in the preseason finale.
Right.
I didn't anticipate. So you get to see him on the practice field. And for people in Green Bay, I'm telling you, dude, that's electric. You want to see somebody like that, 2-time MVP in this stage in his career. So I'm very, very excited for that standpoint of what we get in Green Bay.
No question. I mean, yeah, I just love the competition. I love the vibe. It's just phenomenal. Although I will say Matt doesn't seem to be as beholden or concerned about the idea of taking camp days and or practices away from Nitschke Field, from the Green Bay community, which I get. It's just 1 practice. They have to fly there anyway, but they're probably a day early, whatever. But he doesn't seem to like really kind of not care about it, because I think he cares, but I don't think he worries about it too much. Like, he wants to get in the work he wants to get in, which I think is good. I just kind of miss those days, Billy, where, that training camp schedule would come out and you'd get like 20, 22 practices. Now, last couple of years, we've had 12?
I still am, and this is CBA talk more than Matt LaFleur for me, but
100%.
Shit, the one that I really miss is the night practice.
The night practice,
the night practice was always the most fun.
God, that was awesome. Under McCarthy, under the lights, that
John Slocum mic'd up.
Slocum just yelling into a mic. I mean, but it was magical. I remember talking to Greg Bedard about it. I was just like, I just turned to him at one point. I was just like, this is fucking magical. It was so great. The vibe was great.
It was so elite. It had to have been 2009 or 2010.
Around
I know you
there,
know exactly which one I'm talking about. But when they got into, what was it, 2 or 3 scuffles, and that was when Mike brought everyone together.
Yep.
I watched
and the F-bomb drops
flying through Slocum's mic, and he was at the back end of the huddle, and you're listening to it sitting in the stands. That was so. My dad would always take me one day. He'd take a vacation day, and we'd venture up for a 2-a-day. We got there early. We sat behind Kevin Green's family.
Oh yes, that's so great. Yes,
for the morning practice, and then at the night practice. After then, I did all of my investigative reporting. I'm like, oh my god, this guy's amazing. I wish I would have known this before I sat behind his wife for 2 hours.
That's incredible, right?
We got treated to that marquee. It's something that a certain generation will never know the glory of.
I don't think we're ever getting back to night
telling them about it.
I know. Well, I just want to pitch it to Matt. That's what I want to say. Like, you know how you say, like, you want to get them in the groove for the season. Well, they got night games. They got prime time games.
One night practice.
Why not a night practice? Get a night practice. I love those. It's funny you mentioned sitting behind family members. I'll never, ever forget one of the times I was in the stands there at Ray Nitschke Field, and turns out I was sitting behind a group of players' wives.
Ooh.
I think Balaga's wife was there. And the issue was Don Barclay's wife was there, who, of course, very active on social media, very aware of how maybe, people have not really appreciated her husband's work on the field in Green Bay. Yeah. And I guess I turned into a representative of all of them, because once she found out that Aaron Negler was sitting behind her, like, I'm Aaron Negler, Cheesehead TV, online, blah, blah, blah. And I was somewhat of a kind of defender of Don, because I'm like, he is what he is. Like, you bring him in, you can't have all, a bunch of all pros on your bench. So you can bring in who you can.
This isn't Lombardi's 60s pack.
Exactly.
Sorry, like 3 Hall of Famers.
But apparently, she was not happy about some tweets. So it was good. It was good times. It was good. I excuse.
That's awesome.
I excuse.
I was gonna say, how long did you take to whip him?
Just like it was a couple comments, and I was like,
okay.
I know where I'm not. I know where I'm not wanted. Kind of.
I will say, and I don't know how you feel about it, because they do a very nice job being able to let us walk up and down, and you can see.
Oh, the media side, yeah.
I do love still sitting in the seats.
I do too. You get a much better view.
Thank you.
Especially now that they've partitioned off that middle section, and you can't stand there anymore. You have to go one side or the other.
Mm-hmm.
And then they've closed off that one side for family. So you can't even go all the way down and see the defensive line drills anymore.
Yeah, it's tough. It's tough. Yeah,
I sound like an old man.
Hey, I'm right there with you, dude. I just said the next generation's not going to know how good it was, Mags.
It's true.
I'm 29 and I just went 59 on people, but that's fine. That's okay.
Wait, before we go any further, I'm going to get you out of here, because I know, time is money, and it's a absolute, always a treat to have you and chat ball with you. But I got to say, you got a big weekend coming up there, buddy.
Oh, thank you.
Congratulations.
Yes. Thank you. Yes. Big weekend.
Getting
married out at the Flamingo in Las Vegas. We are getting everything packed up right now. Everything's a mess behind me, but more importantly, there are cold drinks and celebrations right in my future.
That's what I'm talking about. Well, I'm leaving for Barcelona tomorrow, so you and I are both going to be up and about this next time period.
How long are you going to be there?
About 10 days.
What's that flight like?
About an 8-hour flight. It's a haul, but my dad and I are going on a cruise around. We're doing Barcelona. We're doing Cannes, France. We're doing Naples, Florence.
Whoa.
Coming around, we're hitting Ibiza on the way back to Barcelona, so you kind of go around and do all
Dude, that is amazing.
It's gonna be a lot.
Your idea, his idea,
no,
combined,
Dad's idea.
something you always wanted to do.
Dad's idea. He used to do a lot of cruises with my mom, and Mom passed a couple years ago, and then finally he called me. I want to say about 6 months ago. He's like, "Do you want to do this with me?" I was like, "Yeah, sure." He literally said, Just want to do something with you before I croak. Love you, Dad. That's like the best thing I've ever heard. It was like,
oh my God,
perfect pitch.
Like you sold.
I'm sold. I'm on.
Sold. I'm in, Dad. Let's do it. Let's do it. What
go.
do you want to do?
Let's go.
That is so cool, man. Enjoy the hell out of it. I've only been outside of the country one time, and Florence was one of those spots.
Really?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, that's right. I remember your story.
Yep.
The football.
Yeah,
that was Amsterdam.
The football excursion. Well, there was a land in Amsterdam. There was a flight delay. There was a 13-hour layover and a train ride downtown. Yeah, but there was Milan, Florence, and Rome. In like 6 days. We played a all-star team out there.
Right.
In Florence.
The Italian All-Stars?
Yeah, the Italian All-Stars that like it was the picture of Len Dawson in the Super Bowl smoking cigs on the sideline. So there was one guy who was like 45, and you know I'm in somewhat decent shape at this point, Negs, right? Going to my senior year.
Yeah.
We're blocking. He goes, no kill, no kill, no kill. Like, okay, buddy, we're gonna keep you up here. Don't worry. Don't worry. Little brother-in-law treatment. So
oh God, it's so good.
It's a beautiful, beautiful time. They didn't like our large group necessarily because we were somewhat
big
boisterous.
Boys. Yes.
Yeah, boisterous,
loud. Bunch of loud Americans.
Damn, you are gonna just fit in perfectly.
No, dude. I'm gonna be in Rome. I'm gonna be in Rome in a couple days. I can't wait. I'm very excited. Walk
around that Coliseum and just soak it all in.
I can't.
Damn, that is cool, dude.
But I can also not wait until I get back here and talk more Packers with you. I'll be back in time for minicamp, Billy.
Yes,
and that's mandatory, sir. So I expect full attendance here on Carry the G Radio.
And that's gonna be Marshawn Lloyd time. Just letting you know.
Okay, I'm down with it. Marshawn Lloyd, by the way, we didn't even talk about this, getting first crack at returning kicks in the new kickoff format.
Well, they put all that money on Keyshawn Nixon. Can't have him getting hurt, right?
I know, right?
Right?
I know, right.
So Marshawn Lloyd was the #1 guy that you were most excited to see coming up at
okay, Zabe.
At OTAs.
Zabe asking me, who are you most excited to see? I just love that it was like right at the end of my hit, and he just put it out there like a throwaway, right? And I had to give him grief. That
was the best.
Like, I had to give him some grief.
We've been here
in shorts. I'm not excited about anybody yet. Come on.
What I really wish you would have said is I'm most excited to see Matt LaFleur and how he's being able to wave and say, "Come on,
let's
get
this
into
going."
Form
Can he use both arms? Still a bit of a dead wing there at the podium today.
That's what I'm saying. So I mean, he's got one side going, "Come on," and that's a big thing to be able to see.
I've been excited. That'd have been very exciting. I love it. Billy, you're the absolute best. I'll talk to you in a couple weeks.
Have a great trip,
on the wedding, and I'll talk to you soon, man.
Thanks, man. You too. Take it easy.